Okay, these comic books are starting to take over. Yikes. Not only there, but here, here, here. I think it might be time to do some selling. What do you think?
I think they gotta go. I need more space for my Sailor Moon stuff, so help us to do so, guys.
It is Bronze and Modern Gods. I am John.
And I'm Richard.
And if you are a fan of the show and you like what we do, why don't you follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods? And if you like the videos, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the deal. If you are new here, welcome. We are going to cover a lot of things. Every Monday, we have our regular topics, our underrated books of the week, 25-year rule.
Right.
Where we talk about books from 25 years ago and their place in the collecting culture. And our main topic this week are selling secrets. You guys are always asking us, how can I sell my collection? How can I get it ready to sell? My son's going to university. I want to sell some books. We're going to help you here. It's all about how we prep our books to sell them. But first, we have a live sale. Speaking of selling books, this Friday, March 18th, Aaron Go Brawless, the day after St. Patrick's Day, when we're all hungover, we will have a live sale. Right, Richard?
That's right. Looking forward to it.
And it is at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm favoring my buddy here with Eastern. And 5 p.m. Pacific on West Coast, the best coast, this Friday, March 18th. Again, 8 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. No, 8 p.m. Eastern, John, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's all about me, Richard. Let's move into our first segment, which is always our hot book of the week. An obscure title this week, Richard, that doesn't get a lot of attention. I'm shocked.
No, not at all. It's some weird book from the early 60s called Amazing Fantasy 15.
What is this?
It's the first appearance of the Spider guy, Spider-Man, something like
Okay,
that.
sure.
This book just has no ceiling to it. There's a 1.5 sold this week for a staggering 39,500.
Pause. A 1.5 sold for a hair under $40,000.
Yes. Yes.
Can you think of a stock or a Bitcoin or anything like that with that rate of return?
No, not at all. This book just every single week it seems to hit some new high. It's the upper grades are up in the millions, and that's been pulling the value of the lower books up in value. And it's just such a incredible piece of history that I just don't see it having a ceiling to it. You know, if you want this book, if you want Amazing Fantasy 15 in your collection, you need to jump on it now because I doubt it's ever going to go back down in price.
We're going to teach you how to sell your entire collection this episode so you can afford an Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
A 1.5. That's an interesting grade, not a 1.8. I wonder what made it a 1.5.
that's a good question.
Yeah, it's just completely separated cover or something. It's insane. It's insanity. I mean, it's good, but we're supposed to be in a dip right now, aren't we?
But people are looking for a safe place to put their money, and I honestly think books like this are a great alternative to the stock market, just because the stock market has volatility right now. Collectibles like this, I think, are the blue chips right now.
Well, I'm going to stick with my Sleepwalker #1. Going to put my cat through college.
We had a segment a while ago about Ultimate Fallout 4, the Djurjevic variant, and comparing it to AF-15. Strangely enough, the 9.8 of the Djurjevic variant is about 35,000 right now. So
there you go.
It's these key books for major characters like Spider-Man that just people. It's a supply and demand situation. And
let me put this to you. You have a 9.8 Djurjevic variant. Hypothetically, would you sell it to get an Amazing Fantasy 15 and 1.5?
I would.
Yeah, I would too, right? I mean, again, what's the ceiling on that book compared to the ceiling from this book? I don't think they're comparable at all.
I think they both I think they both are still going to grow. I think that you just can't compete with AF-15. I think the only other book that's in its league is Action Comics #1 or Detective Comics 27. Those are the only books that I think are in the same on the same plane.
It is. It's broken free of Earth's orbit, and it's now headed not to the sun, I think to another universe. It's crazy. So if you have an AF-15, kudos to you. Now you're faced with a difficult choice. Do you hold or do you sell it and buy a house?
Yeah. I mean, one of my goals for this year was to sell enough of my collection to be able to afford to buy one.
You
At the
still do.
at the time, we were talking around 20 grand for 1.0 of this book. Uh,
I've seen your collection. I think you could still do it. You would have to make some really, really hard choices.
yeah, I would. And at this point, I'm not ready to. Um, but man, that's a lot of money for one book. That's the point where you start thinking, well, maybe this should be in a safe deposit box instead of.
Yeah, seriously. Everybody watch me make Richard's head explode. You know, your Marvel Family #1 would pay for 1/4 of this.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Uh, I would
Seriously.
no, seriously, I would liquidate that if I saw had a candidate for an AF-15. I mean, I think it's that important, both important to me, and it's important in terms of an investment. It's a true investment, and not like speculation. That's an investment book.
It really is. I mean, you and I are getting up there where we have to start thinking of the end game, not the Avengers movie, but our lives. And this is something to hold on to for 10, 15 years and then, uh, move to Palm Spring with the gays and the grays.
Hey, it could fund a nice lifestyle.
It could fund part of a lifestyle. I don't know if it would fund a full lifestyle in Palm Springs. It'd buy you gas for 3
Oh, in
weeks.
Palm Springs, yeah, that's pretty much all.
Yeah, but no, it's an interesting place where the hobby is right now because I think there is a dip, but certain books are just impervious to this X-Men #1, giant size X-Men #1. I even think Action and Detective 27 are not as impervious
Mhm.
to market fluctuations as Amazing Fantasy 15 has been. Because, I've seen Action and, they're so rare to come to market that maybe I'm talking out of my booty hole, but I don't know. I just don't see anything as bulletproof as AF-15.
No, I honestly can say if you buy an AF-15 today, it is almost a guaranteed certainty that in a year it's going to be worth at least 20% more. You
Maybe it's time for you to start playing chess and go for that Amazing Spider-Man #1, even though you don't want it as much because it's the second appearance. It's going to be next.
It is. It falls into those, that book, Hulk #1, Avengers 1, Jim 83, all those first appearances of the Avengers are always going to be value books, and they're always going to go up. It's about picking the books that you enjoy that have value, and they're going to retain that value.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So, say you want to sell some books to pay for your dream grail, or in my case, a 1997 Ford Ranger.
Wow, you've got goals.
I did. I sold my entire collection in 1996 because I needed a new car, and I wanted a truck with no traction in the snow that would fishtail everywhere I went. And so I sold all my books. I regret that to this day, as you guys know who have been listening to the podcast over and over, because I did not know the secrets that Richard and I are going to be sharing with you now as we share our selling secrets, prepping your comic books for sale for the maximum value. Richard, start us off with what to sell.
Yeah, to me, this is a selection process. You do your research. You go online, you see which books are hot. You know what's hot because you go on YouTube, or you look at comicbooks.com or Bleeding Cool, and you can get a feel for the temperature of certain books. Some books are hot, and those are the books that you want to focus on. Some books are cold, And it may not be the right time to sell them, even though they're valuable books. Their overall value on the market right now is depressed. So unless you need the money, you probably want to put that back and wait until it heats up later.
Now, you have a theory where you're going where it's hot. You kind of move where that hockey puck is headed to, and you want to anticipate it.
Mhm.
I kind of have another philosophy where my collecting goals are very strange. They're very off the beaten path. I love a good Patsy Walker.
Mhm.
I love a good Rawhide Kid number 23. I love a good Love Romances 106. You know, the thing is, there aren't a lot of us out there, but when books like this come up, they appeal really highly to people like me because we never see them. So
Mhm.
we're willing to pay top dollar, well above what Overstreet or usually eBay sellers are selling, because the last eBay sell was probably 3 years ago or 2 years ago. So I tend to select oddball books to sell when I'm ready to go. You guys have seen it on our live sales. I have a whole run of Comic Reader, the fanzine that I sell, and when I put them up, they you see them fly, man. People claiming because you never see them. Who's going to sell a copy of Creatures on the Loose number 18 or whatever it is with the Steranko cover? But you, if you have it and you know that there are collectors that love Steranko, love Bronze Age Marvel, all that kind of stuff. So don't just assume to make money it has to be the latest hot Deadpool variant cover, one of
Right.
50. There are people out there that want the more obscure stuff. Um,
Mhm.
I like bundling books. You said you have that here in the notes. It's a lot easier to sell a run of, just a run like Avengers 160 through 175. There are no major keys there. It's just a nice little Bronze Age run. Bundle them, put them all together, and sell it for that price. And you're probably going to get a quicker response than trying to piecemeal them out.
Mhm.
So you've got your books picked out. You know what you want. Now's the tough part, you guys. Grading. This is going to really make or break you as a seller. You got to be honest. You cannot fall in love with your books.
Right.
Divorce yourself from your emotions. You are a robot. This book has 3 spine ticks. It is not a 9.8 candidate. It is a 9.4. Blech, the end. Or it's got blunted corners. I mean, you got to be brutal. Maybe it has finger bends.
Uh,
Uh, things like that.
I one thing that I've noticed that makes a difference for me is you take your phone and you turn your camera on your phone and look at the book through the camera, not through your eyes, but through the camera. For some reason, that sense of detachment helps me see the book for what it really is, and not, when you're looking at a book, sometimes with your eyes, you gloss over some of the flaws. And that's a great cover, great book. But when you're looking through that camera lens, you see the spine ticks, you see the fingerprints, you see all those flaws in a more realistic light.
Don't be an amateur. Do not grade your book through the bag.
Yes.
The bag hides a lot of imperfections, and I know it's really tempting because you're pressed for time and you just want to get through with this. Wrong. You also have to check the back cover. Is it dirty? Is one of the corners bent in the back cover? Is there a chip out? What about the centerfold? Is it in there? Is it attached? The Marvel value stamp, is that in there? These are things that you really have to check, because what's going to happen is people are going to be pleased that you did this and they have no problems, and then will buy from you again. Or they're going to say, this guy doesn't know how to grade. I'm never going to buy from him again. You do not want that. So be harsh, be brutal.
And it's also a good opportunity. You take a book out of a bag, it's an opportunity to replace the bag and board. Some of these books may have been sitting in that bag for 10 years. I used to put everything in Mylars, but now it's
When you can
almost,
find them.
I can't find them anymore. So I use high quality bags, and I use typically when I'm rebagging stuff, I use fullbacks, nice heavy thick backing boards. And put the book in that, and it presents better when you're trying to sell it.
Let me back you up on that, because I usually am really good about replacing bags and boards, even with just more recent poly bags and regular backing boards, just so they're clean and it looks good. There was a sale, I think 2 years ago, where I had a book and it was a beautiful book, and I just didn't bother to change the bag. The bag was wrinkled, and I sent it, and the guy DM'd me and complained that I sent him a bag that was bent. He didn't complain about the book. The book was fine. He literally complained that I sent him a bag that was not perfect. And I thought, okay, you're insane. And I also thought, you know what? I'm lazy. I should have replaced that bag. So whoever that was, lesson learned. You're still nuts, but lesson learned. I do replace all my bags and boards now. All right. You brought the book out, you've graded it. There are a couple wrinkles, a couple finger bends.
Some cockling.
Should you press it before you sell it? I think we have different opinions here. Go ahead.
Yeah, it depends on the book. There are some books that I refuse to press. For example, square bound modern books, be they DC or Mark. DC is the one that typically has these books, like the Wonder Woman Black and Gold, for example. It's a thick book with a square binding.
Three
And
Jokers.
Three Jokers, right?
Yeah.
Those books, I'm very cautious to press. Pressing square bound books is takes practice.
You shouldn't need to. Like Last Ronin, I had a stack of those, and I had a few actually come back as 9.9s, and I didn't press them. If you have to press a square bound like that, it's beyond getting a 9.8, because the paper stock holds that bend permanently. Even if you press it out, it will look like it's been pressed out.
Yeah, but typically I press some of my books that I sell, but a lot of the books that I sell, I don't represent as being pressed. And I I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to qualify it.
I do. I have a way. If it is a $20 book or more, after I press it, if I can estimate it's going to get me $20 or more, I will press it.
Good point.
If I think it's just going to be, a maximum $7 book or $8 book, I'm not going to press it. I'm just going to sell it like that at the appropriate price for that grade, because you're selling your time.
Yeah.
You're not selling the book, you're selling your time. So be a little, I wouldn't say, be selective with what you press. Also, if you're pressing a book and you think it's going to get a 9.6 or a 9.8, in normal times, I would send it in to get slabbed to maximize your potential. But in this case, just, if it's $20 or more and you've got the time, press it. Why not?
Yep, I could agree with that.
All right, let's move on to pricing, because this is a touchy one. People have different ways of coming to a price, and I think you and I tend to agree on this one.
Yeah, definitely. eBay sold pricing is my guide. I'll take whatever book I have. I'll go into eBay. I'll check the box that will let me see the sold pricing, not the price the book is listed for, and I'll look at that as kind of my range for the price of the book. Sometimes your book may have it may be white pages, while the other books that you're seeing on there are off white. So you have to make some adjustments. But also, I when I'm pricing the book, I tend to be, as you're always chiding me for, I tend to be on the lower end of the spectrum. I'd rather have somebody buy a book and me, for maybe 10% less than that I would normally sell that book for, have it sold rather than have it sit, in my box. So
well, I agree with that. I cheese you, but it's usually on stuff that you don't realize is expensive. That you priced way too low. The trick I use is I do sold, eBay sold, and then I sort the price from high to low. And then I look at my book and I see it's a 9.0. It's not a 9.8. It's probably an 8.5, a 9.0. And I scroll down until I see books that kind of match that grade. And then I look at that range of prices and I go from there. If it's not an in-demand book and I want to make room, I'll price it on the low end. If it's an in-demand book, I'm going to stay on the high end and see what happens. Because when you're doing this, a lot of times people will make offers. And so you want that wiggle room for an offer. You don't want to have it completely at your absolute rock bottom break even.
Good
What
point.
what
Because
is the rock bottom break even? We'll get to that in a second.
yeah, about half books that I sell in our live sales are from people throwing out offers.
Mhm.
So you're right. Sometimes you need to have the enough wiggle room to be able to absorb those kinds of things.
We don't do it, but I've seen other people do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Let me preface that. They will price a little high, uh, in order to make it seem like they're giving out great deals, and you feel it, psychologically, you feel like you got something, for 15 bucks off. Then you look at it, you look it up later and you're like, wait a second, I paid exact going market rate for this. So there's a psychological component to this as well. I'm just being completely transparent. All right. Now you're pricing your books, you're selling your books. How do you keep track of all this, Richard?
Yeah, I am a developer by trade and also by hobby, and so I originally started off keeping track of all these books. Price them, and I'd have a Excel spreadsheet, um, and I would keep track of everything. And it was a real nightmare trying to get things out for invoicing and all that. So I ended up writing my own software to handle all of this. So it lets you track the books that you're selling. It lets you track who you sold it to, what price it was. It keeps track of the shipping information. It's everything that I need to do to keep track of what I'm selling, and it's worked out really well. I'm able to tell you exactly when I sold a book and to who I sold it and for how much. I even have the ability to track how much I paid for the book. So it's a handy system for me, and it works for me. But I know you use a different system completely.
I use the good old fashioned Excel spreadsheet. I track the issue, what I paid for it, what I sold it for, the profit that I got, and who bought it, of course, so I can keep track of if it's shipped or not. Because I have a little, has it been shipped? Green check mark.
Mhm.
And the profit, I think, is the most important column for me, because if you're buying books and you're acquiring books and you're selling them and you're actually selling them for less than you're paying for them, and you forget what you paid for it and you're like estimating, yikes, that's a recipe for disaster. That's not how business works. So you want to track your profits so you can feel like, okay, this was worth my time. Um, and you've
But
got
sometimes you got to sell a book even if it's at a loss.
You have to. You have to. Or you can hold on to it forever and hope that it comes around 40 years later and you're still alive and your heart's still beating and it's not clogged with cholesterol from I don't know that I'm projecting. All right. The most important thing to me outside of grading here is this next step. I think grading's the most important. Accurate grading. Second most important to me, shipping your book.
Mhm.
This is where you can be made or broken as a comic book seller. If you skimp on the shipping, if you cheap out on the shipping, people will call you out. If you put a slab in a puffy envelope and you send it to someone, don't be surprised if they take a picture of it and post it on Instagram and tag you. You deserved it.
Oh, absolutely. Shipping materials is key, not only because you want the book to get there safely, because if it doesn't get there safely, you've got some kind of return issue to deal with. But you also want a happy customer. You want a customer to get that book, feel confident in your ability to ship, and be able to come back the next time you'd have a sale and feel that they can trust you with a $500 book or $1,000 book. So it's really important to ship in a way that protects the book as best as you can.
If you are selling raw books, invest in Gemini mailers. It's that simple. They're not cheap. It's going to cost you about $1 a shipment, but they are worth it
Oh,
because the
absolutely.
book gets there and it gets there in the grade that you graded it at. I imagine, I know Richard is one of these people, and I imagine a lot of you that listen to this podcast are also the same, that you buy a lot of books. So you're probably getting Gemini shippers from the sellers. Save them. If you have room in your place, in your apartment, or a closet that you don't use, or the top of a closet or something, just just save your Gemini mailers.
Bubble wrap too. I have oodles and oodles of bubble wrap from books that I've received that I shamelessly reuse.
I recycle that ish all the time. I have a box of 100 Gemini mailers out in the garage that I haven't touched in a while because I've been using all of my reusable Gemini mailers. They're pretty bulletproof. They survive, and there's no shame in reusing them.
One other thing I have to say: if you do ship, if you sell a reasonable number of books, the actual purchasing of shipping can be a real drag. I used to use USPS.com, and they have a way you can do address books, and it works. But I found SendPro, which is an online service that you can buy shipping by postage at a discount, and it will automatically pull the addresses from the address book. But it will print. I spent $100 on a thermal label printer. You can buy all your shipping directly through there, hit a button, and it will print all the shipping labels all prepared, so that all you have to do is slap them on the outside of the Gemini mailer or the priority. I typically ship priority to the priority envelope. It's just so much easier than having to hand fill out the labels, or any other method, in terms of just being able to get the shipping accurately, because it also keeps track of it, and you get email updates, and it's just a great system.
That's SendPro. SendPro for all your shipping needs. Use promo code BRONZE at checkout for 20%.
Oh yeah, guys! If you want to sponsor us, we'll be happy to. It's a product they use every single live sale.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by anyone, so that was a joke. Although hey, hit our email.
Well, that also brings up a point. When you do sell the book, make sure that you send us the tracking information to the buyer, so they can track the progress of the book, and you'll get less questions asked about where is my book, because they can simply type in the code. Again, I usually ship USPS, so they can go to the website and track it that way.
Yeah, very important point. What method of shipping to use? Do not use media mail. It's tempting, I know. It's also technically illegal because these this is printed matter, but it contains advertisement, which makes it ineligible for media mail. And it's not trackable. Bite the bullet, charge shipping. You're not biting it out of your profit. But if you send a priority 3-day, 2-day, and provide a tracking number, it just makes the buyer feel a lot more confident in you as a seller, because you're backing things up. This went out, and it protects you too.
Yeah, we covered this in a shipping video, but I typically ship my books. I put them in a Gemini mail, the raw books, in a Gemini mailer, and I ship them USPS priority mail in a legal envelope sized mailer. It fits over top of the Gemini. It's $8 ish. It depends on some factors, and it gets there in 2 days. It has tracking, and it has $50 insurance. And it's just really, really the best way.
And it's water resistant when you're sending it to snowy, rainy places like Ohio. And you can get them for free from USPS.com. You don't have to pay for it. Just go on there, add 20 or 30 of them to your cart, and they will deliver them to your doorstep. You don't even have to leave the house.
No, the mail will deliver your mailing material.
Yes.
I just found that funny.
Maybe that's why they're going bankrupt. All right. So now we have shared a few of our selling secrets. So get to selling. Check out our live sale this Friday if you want to see how it's done. And we're going to head right into 1997 and everyone's favorite segment, the 25-year rule. Yoo-hoo! This is the second Deadpool book we have featured in the 25-year rule for 1997, because it was a big year for Wade Wilson, the Merc with a Mouth. And it is Deadpool number 11. Have you seen this cover before, Richard?
I have not, to be honest with you, no.
My favorite part is the corner box where he's in that classic Spider-Man pose, a la Ditko. This is, of course, homaging Amazing Fantasy 15. The story is hysterical. This run of Deadpool was so friggin' funny. Joe Kelly was a great writer. Deadpool and Blind Owl end up trapped back in time. And so to get back, basically, it's a convoluted story, but Deadpool has to impersonate Peter Parker, and Blind Owl has to impersonate Aunt May. And it actually uses story pages and situations from Amazing Spider-Man number 47, but with Deadpool and Blind Owl inserted in here and there. It is so funny, you guys. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you've never read Deadpool 11, even digitally, get it, download it, read it. It's awesome. I was surprised when I looked this up. It actually commands a bit of a premium on the secondary market. Raws sell from 35 to 40 bucks. The newsstand version, which there is one, even gets more than that. It is a 64-page giant. So I think there's a lot of bindery issue problems with this. So it is okay. I love this book. I mean, I remember buying it and just being on the floor. First of all, I was shocked I was buying Deadpool because I'm not the biggest, fan of that character back then. X-Force, all that stuff, just passed me by. And people kept talking about it was critically acclaimed. People kept talking about how funny it was, and Joe Kelly was doing innovative, cool things. And gosh darn it, if they weren't right. If you have not read that original 25 or so issue run of Joe Kelly's Deadpool, do yourself a favor and check it out.
Absolutely. And there's a new Deadpool movie coming out. So,
Huh?
yeah, it's rumored to be coming out, but I think Ryan Reynolds has Marvel's ear when it comes to Deadpool being in the MCU.
Yeah, for sure. I would love, before that happens, since they're both under the Sony umbrella, why not do an adaptation of this issue where he goes back
Yes,
as Peter Parker?
that's a great idea.
All right, it's time to move to our underrated books of the week. Richard, what?
Yeah, my pick this week is Secret Wars number 4 from 2015, the second print. Now,
Okay.
it is a gorgeous cover. I've got it right here.
Oh, that's who that is. I thought that was Moon Knight when you sent it to me.
No, this is God Emperor Doom. It's one of my favorite Doom covers. It's an Alex Ross cover. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it takes place in the Secret Wars storyline where Doom has become a god, and that actually happens in Secret Wars number 2. If you're looking for that, that's also one of my secret spec books. I've been specking on that for a while. But this one is just this is second print. There are apparently less than 800 copies of this book printed.
Wow.
Really, really small print run. It is really, really a ghost. They come up every now and then. I bought this particular copy on eBay. There's another copy up there right now in the UK for over $100. So they're kind of expensive. And the reason why is because they just don't show up very often. There's only a total of 8 books on the census, of which 4 9.8s. The last 9.8 that came up for sale was back in 2019. It was for $50.
Hmm.
I really think when you look at Doom, the God Emperor Doom is such a powerful character. If Marvel decides to do something with Secret Wars, and obviously Doom is going to be a part of that. And who knows, with the multiverse, we may see this particular aspect of Doom show up in a movie sometime. Me personally, I just love the cover. It's just such a striking cover. The A cover, it's the same cover as the A cover, but without the trade dress, which I think makes it just look that much better. If you see them, you're going to be fighting with me and somebody else is out there picking these up because, like I said, they're really scarce. So when they come up for sale, they don't last very long. So if you can find it, I would buy it. The last 9.8 was $50. I paid $80 for this one. It's high grade, probably 9698. I haven't had a chance to press it yet, so I really don't know any better than that. But it's just such a gorgeous book, and it's so rare. It could be another one of those books that just skyrockets because of the rarity.
You cannot go wrong with an Alex Ross cover.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, the guy's amazing. All right. My underrated book of the week is going back to the Silver Age. It is Tales of Suspense number 75. This is the first appearance of Sharon Carter.
Okay.
Long time. Well, it's not fair to call her Cap's longtime girlfriend. She's a SHIELD agent. She's Agent 13. She's her own woman, and she just happens to be in a relationship with Captain America. It's also the first cameo appearance of Peggy Carter. And most importantly, in my eyes, it's the first appearance of Bétroc Zilipere. Savoir-faire is everywhere, Captain America. That's my bad French accent. Lots of going on with this book. It's interesting to see where this book will end up with Captain Carter launching last week for the new comic. We saw her in What If. It's a cameo of Peggy Carter. So, are we going to get into that Wolverine, Hulk 180, 181 debate here? But the most recent high grade sale for this book was for a 9.2 in September of last year for $750.
Wow.
So there is some interest in this book. I do think it's under the radar. I do think it is an underrated book of the week. And so if you have not secured, if you're a Cap fan, you have not secured your Tales of Suspense 75, it may be time to do that before you buy your Amazing Fantasy 15.
TOS, Tales of Suspense, it's a place that just keeps on giving. I wonder what other books out there.
It's kind of like a dog book, like Tales to Astonish and Daredevil were for years. There are so many warehouse finds of this book. Not this particular issue, but in general, they were not in demand. Cap and Iron Man were not A-level characters through the 80s and through the 70s. Daredevil, the same thing. And now they're finally getting their due. And after bopping around in bargain bins forever, high-grade copies are at a premium. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm really glad. I'm bummed as a Captain America collector because my wallet is not happy. So I need to get more money to buy high-grade Tales of Suspense. So join us this Friday for our live sale, Friday, March 18th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on our Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods.
Yep. Tune in. We'll have fun. Our shows are half sale, half just hanging out.
You'll get to see Chicken Hand if you have not experienced Chicken Hand yet. You will be confounded and confused like everyone else is at first, and then you will join in the fun this Friday on Instagram, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I got it.
All right. You made it. You got it this time. That's good.
All right. We will see you guys then. Have a great week.
Everybody stay safe.